Hello and welcome to Rev Sports. New Zealand win the fourth T20I by 40 runs, 50 runs. I already have my math wrong. I'm continuing on from the pre-show. But anyway, this is not a result that the Indian team would have desired, but at the same time, it's not something the fans will mind. Fans will say, you know what, get as many losses as you can out of the way before the World Cup starts. Then you can go into the World Cup unbeaten streak till the very end. Not unlike 2023. That's not what you want to see once more, because I don't think the Indian fandom can handle another November 19th, 2023. It's just not possible. With me today is Devashish Sen, Shomik Chakrabarti, and Ashok Nambudiri. I'll start with you, Devashish. Looking back, obviously, you've got Abhishek Sharma, who got out on the very first delivery, golden duck for Abhishek. Sanju Samson did manage to get a few runs on the scoreboard, but not enough. Actually, it was a good opportunity for him to kind of put his hand up, take responsibility, and put some good runs on the scoreboard. But he was unfortunate, got out once again, and did not give as much impact as we would have wanted to see.
Yeah, I think the biggest positive for India in this match has to be Shivam Dube, the way he batted. So clearly, when your top order fails to deliver, and then the way he batted, he almost until and unless the time he was in the middle, India looked like to be in the match. But unfortunately, and the manner in which he got out also was very unfortunate. Means Matt Henry just touching his fingers, and he was found short of his crease. But nevertheless, means obviously India needs to look beyond Sanju Samson now with the time running out. Yes, clearly we discussed in the last match as well, but I think you need to give Ishan Kishan. Yes, Ishan Kishan was rested today, but you need to give Ishan Kishan the opportunity for him to get used to opening the batting. See, going in at number 3 and opening the batting is sort of not much of a difference, but I still say it's kind of an adjustment that he needs to do with an Abhishek Sharma. So I think better late than never. You need to give an opportunity to Ishan Kishan in that final T20I at Tiruvananthapuram. Yes, but I think once again, the frontline bowlers are going for a lot of runs in the power play. That is one area of concern, because at no time in New Zealand, even in today's match, they were some 70 odd in the power play. And so I think in the big teams, and so teams like Australia will cash in if they get a start. So I think, but at the same time, at the hindsight, yes, Abhishek Sharma, there will be one odd failure here and there, and that is what it was. But it was a brilliant catch by Devon Conway, means diving full length and clinging on to the catch. But overall, I think a bit of a disappointment, but India will take it. India will take it because the series is already won. So I think these are few areas where and they are pushing it, and that's the reason they have went in with an ex-batter shot in this match. Gargi.
Ashok, yes, yes, Shivam Dube, a positive here, but I think we all are focusing on the top of the order, which is Sanju Samson. Ishan Kishan was injured today, which is why he wasn't in the team. Wasn't rested, but was injured, so he was out for that reason. Rinku Singh up the order is something that worked well for Team India. Ashok, now you have multiple combinations when it comes to the batting lineup. You can reshuffle if the top order doesn't fire. You know you have this, barring this match, you know that the lower order can handle it. Shivam Dube is an apt backup for Hardik Pandya as well. What are the positives that you will be looking for from this match?
I think Shivam Dube scoring at almost 300 runs strike rate clearly is a big one. He hit 7 sixes during that innings of his, and he almost came out like a man on a mission. I think that was one big positive. Second, in the pre-show, I had called out that if at all India wants to experiment, they should look at moving Rinku Singh up the order. And at number 4, he delivered almost 40 runs. He came in and batted. And I would say that India was not just threatening. I think if Shivam Dube had been there for a few more overs, India would have actually crossed that line for sure. And that would have been a statement par excellence. Nonetheless, I agree with Debashish that India will take this. I think, all said and done, there will be a day like this when Abhishek Sharma will get out. Hardik Pandya didn't really fire. But the middle order fired and almost took India over the line. 50 runs, I think, was the deficit. Um, Sanju Samson, I think clearly there is a lacune there. I think as he moved to the leg side, there was absolutely zero footwork, and that delivery from Santner got through to him. I think we spoke about this extensively, but I think given what we have seen today, if it was not for that niggle that Ishan Kishan was out on the bench, I think he's clearly going to come in. Finally, I think we must also acknowledge the fact that we've been talking about catching. Rinku Singh with those 4 catches today was fantastic in the field. One could argue that we gave away, Daryl Mitchell came in towards the end and scored breezily. One could argue that we gave away maybe 20, 30 runs extra. But when you look at the bowlers, I really can't point fault anywhere. Harshit Rana was expensive today, but maybe a little bit tighter there. But Daryl Mitchell is clearly in the form of his life against India, so no taking away from that. So I think net, if you ask me, India will say that net positives from the match today. The batting order depth has been proven, and perhaps time for that experiment at the top of the order.
Somik, I mean, Ashok brings up Daryl Mitchell here. He's been an absolute nightmare for the Indian bowlers throughout this series. The kind of clean hitting that he does. I mean, one of those sixes that he hit straight on to Jasprit Bumrah, I think it was, or was it Harshit Rana? I can't really recall, but it was at the beginning of his innings. And bowler's back 6, it was an absolute clean hit. I think the way that he's batting right now, he's going to be a threat for everyone in that World Cup.
He is a fantastic batsman to start with. Across formats, he is a fantastic batsman. Especially, the way he... Against Spain also, he has scored runs, centuries in England also. So he has got a pretty all-round game. And the way he paces his innings, that is his biggest strength. The way he paces his innings. You will never see him in a hurry. But at the end of the day, when he is out or when his innings has ended, you'll always see a healthy strike rate. And sometimes you would feel he might have taken the game away from him. Although the score is pretty much pass score on this pitch, and in T20 cricket, 200 odd, that is the pass score. Whatever it is, it is a pass score. See, interestingly, I bumped into. I'm very. I try to stay away from social media as much as possible, apart from reading newspapers. But I bumped into a debate on social media before the start of the game or during early part of the game that India made a blunder by not picking Shreyas Iyer. They should have played an extra batsman. That was the discourse on social media. That was my... Akash Chopra put out a tweet, and the trickle-down effect, the debate started as a trickle-down effect. Akash Chopra opined that India should have played Shreyas Iyer instead of an extra bowler. Now, Akash Chopra is entitled to his opinion. Then again, the Indian think tank, he is not part of the Indian team think tank, and the Indian team think tank felt that those who are part of the World Cup, they should play. Because these 2 matches are meaningless matches. In isolation, these 2 matches are completely meaningless matches, just extended warm-up matches. Here you count on positives. Here you try to fix a few combinations, but you try to do a few permutations and combinations. And that's why you need to, because you don't know whether Washington Sundar would be fit for the World Cup. And in that case, Ravi Vishnoi is part of your squad. And you need to have a look. He played 1 game. And this is your opportunity to have a look at Ravi Vishnoi, whether if a replacement is needed, he could be brought in as a replacement for Washington Sundar if it is required. So Shreyas Iyer is not part of the squad. Once again, there is absolutely nothing to read into. Even if India would have lost by 100 runs, it did mean nothing because World Cup is World Cup and a completely different intensity. In such games, whatever you say, whatever you say at the press conferences in public, and whatever you try, whatever you way you try to present yourself, no, we still have motivation. The motivation level drops. End of story.
Yep. A lot of people here talking about Sanju because, of course, he's in the spotlight once again. Ojaswi Thapa is saying what Sanju achieved by playing all matches so far. He can't move his feet against spin. Debashish, what's your take on this? We discussed in the pre-show, you were not there unfortunately, but we discussed that it's not necessarily a technical flaw that Sanju is facing here, rather, a lack of runs. What are your thoughts about this?
I think it's a mix of both. It's a mix of both. It's not only the lack of runs that has been that doing his harming his confidence, but also I think clearly it was a pretty straightforward delivery today. He was caught on the crease, and I would say it's a mix of both. But I think that's the reason I'm telling that it's rather than means already he has got 4 matches now in the series, 4 matches, and so and in the last thing you want is to have someone who might replace Sanju Samson at the top, is to give him a extra bit of a match practice so as to get used to. Yes, Ishan Kishan was injured, but I think the team management needs to take a call sooner than later, because it's time. Clearly, time is running out for Sanju Samson. Yes, he is a very, very good batsman, talented batsman, but all those talent makes for nothing until and unless you deliver. Go out in the middle and deliver. And remember, it's a World Cup. It's a World Cup that India will be playing their first match in a few days from now on the 7th of February. So I think there needs to be some harsh calls taken, and I think good sense will prevail if Ishan Kishan is drafted immediately at the start of the at the top along with Abhishek Sharma. And so I think and you could clearly make out from the disappointment of Sanju Samson face while he was going back to the pavilion. So clearly, and it was a golden opportunity, Gargi. All he had to do is to stay out there in the middle and keep scoring those runs. But unfortunately, as is the case, getting out to a pretty straightforward delivery from Santner, I think, and that will be working on his mind. So clearly, it's a mix of both, I would say.
Lots of questions here. Web of Tara. Yes, Shamik.
Just my 2 cents as regards Sanju Samson, Gargi, and I think more than anything else, and looking at his dismissal today, I think more than anything else, it's a confidence issue. Ashok spoke about the lack of footwork, and that was evident. But the way he froze at the crease, he sort of froze at the crease, and that was unexpected. And maybe, not maybe, I think it is a confidence issue. And maybe the time has come for the team management to take a call, because Sanju Samson's confidence level is falling. And you as a team manager, if you are the team management, you would not like that confidence to go into the mud, because he is still part of the World Cup squad, and you never know, an injury here or a niggle there, you might require Sanju Samson at the World Cup, even if you drop initially him from the playing 11. He's part of the 15, and you never know. It's a long tournament. You might need him at the World Cup. So better to move him out of the firing line, because another failure in the 5th game, and his confidence will go into the mud.
Okay, Web of Taragi here is asking, people speak about Pandya or Bumrah, but trust me, Shivam Dube is also a very different beast. Such a big hitter of the ball. Watch out for him in the World Cup. Ashok?
No debate on that. I think his potential was always there. I think it was about getting time out there in the middle, and he actually came in and delivered. I think nobody had any debate about the utility. I think even in the Asia Cup, Gargi, you'll remember we have spoken about Shivam Dube and about his ability. He has actually delivered there. I think definitely for the World Cup, it's a big thing. What it also sets up, to the point that Shomik was saying, is that India has got a lot of strength now, a lot of depth, but some choices will have to be made, in terms of, for example, at the top of the order, how do we structure it? If Ishan Kishan were to open, it means three left-handers at 1, 2, 3. And then does that mean that, you need to perhaps bring Sky at number 3 and move Tilak Verma to number 4? What happens to Akshar Patel? Does he find a role automatically coming in? Because India's experimented, if I could say, more on the bowling side than on the batting side, so to speak, across the 4 matches, if you were to look at it in aggregate. And therefore, what is the outcome of these experiments? Are we going to play Kuldeep and Varun together, or does Bishnoi get a chance now? I mean, I think it will be a great exercise to do run through a final playing 11 as India goes into the World Cup. And therein lies, I think, 3 or 4 interesting choices that will have to be made. And Shomik is absolutely right. I mean, Samson is part of the squad. You've got several others who are part of the squad. It's a good thing. I mean, if you look at it, Ishan Kishan came in as a standby to Sanju Samson. And he's actually risen to the task and now is perhaps overshadowing him. But net, like we said, there is a positive in the sense that we have a lot of choices. But I think some intelligent thinking will need to be done in terms of the final playing 11.
Shomik, what is the update on Washington Sundar? From what I've been watching and reading reports, I think Sahil Malhotra reported on him and said that he has somewhat of a fracture in his rib. What's the deal right now?
I don't like to make any comment on Sahil Malhotra's observation, Gargi, to start with. Let Sahil Malhotra report the way he has been reporting. He is entitled to do that. There is no further update from the BCCI, Gargi. On a serious note, there is no further update from the BCCI, because what we have been hearing that he is still going through his rehabilitation process. It hasn't been. He is not back on the grass. He is not back on the grass, meaning he hasn't started his strength drills, and that will be followed by cricket skill set drills. So he hasn't started that. So you can understand, and the time is running out. So, and Ashok, very aptly pointed out something about India's playing 11. Very, very relevant point. What is going to be India's playing 11 when they play USA on February 7th? And it's a very, very valid question and a relevant question, because see, we know that Akshar Patel and Varun Chakravarti are the team's 2 frontline spinners. Now, it is very unlikely that in Indian conditions, and also in Colombo, the way pitches are in Colombo, they are going with an extra seamer in Harshit Rana, because Harshit Rana, that seam bowling all-rounder, they might not play. And therein comes the spin bowling all-rounder part. At this moment in time, you have Ravi Vishnoi. He is more of a bowler and less of a batsman. So very likely, I will not be surprised if this guy, Washington Sundar, is ruled out. Then the only replacement you have is Riyan Parag, who has completed his course at the NCA, and he might. There is no certainty as yet, but you know that when the team goes away, there are travel reserves. Then part of reinforcement, maybe even not part of the 15 until Washington Sundar is ruled out. He might join the squad. He might be with the squad in Bombay on February 2nd. So he is only your like replacement, because you cannot play Ravi Vishnoi. You cannot fit Ravi Vishnoi into that spin bowling all-rounder role. So if Riyan Parag comes, hypothetically, assuming that Washington Sundar is ruled out, in that case, he is going to be your third spinner, a spin bowling all-rounder. Your third spinner will have to be someone who is more of a batsman and a part-time spinner.
Final couple of questions on the show. Manikanta Suri is asking, India's ultra-aggressive approach, will it work in ICC matches? Would like to hear your thoughts. Debashish, why don't you take this one?
Yeah, absolutely. What's the problem in having such an approach? Means I absolutely nothing, not a problem at all. At least for me, India needs to maintain this ultra aggressive approach, and that has been paying dividends. India has not lost a series until the time Surya Kumar Yadav has taken over as the captain after that 2024 World Cup win. So I think it is perfectly okay. Yes, there will be times that there will be a rare failure from Abhishek Sharma or a Surya Kumar Yadav, as has been the case. Even in the previous match, we were talking heaping loads of praises on the two batters. But I think clearly, as Surya Kumar Yadav in the post-match press conference pointed out, is that the team management purposefully played 6 batters. And they wanted to challenge themselves, and that is what it is. But I think going forward, this is not the team. That team management will always go in with 7 batters minimum. Bare necessary is to go in with 7 batters. The full stop. Means India will never change. Means if you have, as was the case today, you have a Ravi Krishnan, you have a Arshdeep Singh, you have a Jasprit Bumrah. Where on earth you are going to win matches if your top order fails? Means no way. And then Shivam Dube or someone will have to go play out of the skin to make a match of it, as was the case today. But clearly, this is not at least Surya Kumar Yadav admitted in the post-match press conference is that they wanted to challenge themselves by playing in a one-batter shot. But clearly, India is missing that one batter. Means I think Shamika mentioned about Riyan Parag, but I would say that Akshar Patel is also not a bad bet. Now that he is fit, Akshar Patel can do the job, but the point is that...
No, Debashish, just interrupting. Akshar is there. Akshar will be there. Akshar and Varun are your 2 frontline spinners, wherein Akshar Patel is the all-rounder. If you want to play a third spin bowling all-rounder, therein, if Washington Sundar, when Washington Sundar is officially ruled out, then you have the only replacement that you have is Riyan Parag, who can be a like for like.
Okay, final question here. Where did it go? Okay, Fitmonk is saying, so the law of average trapped Abhishek today. Thankfully, it came before the World Cup, and we'll stay away from him till we win the cup. This is exactly what I was talking about. But Ashok, the question that I want to ask you is, do you think one game away from the T20 World Cup, India have their playing 11 solidified?
So let me just step back for a minute and just go back to the previous comment where India's batting is not ultra aggressive. That's not the term. The term really is something like structured fearlessness. So the idea is basically that you go out there and in a very structured manner play fearlessly. And the way Abhishek Sharma jumped out today and tried to hit the ball, it is not even a calculated risk. It is a strategy. It is a ploy to put the fear into the opposition. If you look at the previous match, where India is saying, if you score 200, we'll go out and get it in 15 overs. If you score 250, we will still go and do it there. If you do 300, it puts the doubt in the opposition mind saying, is even that number enough to take on this team? And I think that's the way the strategy is done, so that it is very structured in terms of who's doing what is to be done when, and a very, very clear brief to go out there and play fearlessly. You might in the process get out on the first ball like Abhishek Sharma did today, but nonetheless, it's fine. Coming to your question, Gargi, which is exactly the point I raised, I don't think, that's kind of locked in yet in terms of the final playing 11. Of course, it will depend on the opposition, depend on the conditions, etc. All that is a variable. But I think 3 or 4 key questions need to be asked in terms of, how are you going to arrive at your picks before you even discuss the names? So I think those choices could be an interesting discussion. Of course, maybe that's for another day. But I think it opens up a good, interesting debate in terms of. Nonetheless, I think India will, given the strategy of structured fearlessness, go for that batting depth of batting up to maybe number 7, number 8, or maybe up to 9, because I think that's a clear way ahead. And the approach is going to be that whatever you score, we will be able to take that on, and the bowling strength is enough to take on any opposition. That's the thinking. But like I said, in terms of choices, opening, what is the combination? Spinners, Shamik just mentioned, is it going to be a bowling all-rounder that you're going to look for? Those are choices to be made, and I can put up at least 3 or 4 such questions.
Gargi, just before you say goodbye, I have a question. I have a question in the sense, general question regarding. We started with Sanju Samson. So going back to Sanju Samson, see, we all know he has not been scoring runs and he is struggling out there in the middle. And apparently, it's a confidence issue. We don't know. It could be a bit of a technical issue also. But my question is that what are the coaches doing? Because when a player or a team runs on autopilot, you don't need coaches. If a player or a team runs on autopilot, you don't need coaches. Everything is falling in place. When that doesn't happen, when a player is not running on autopilot, when things are not falling in place, then the coaches come in. We are talking about the highest level here. We are not talking about under 19 or under 23. This is the highest level. And a coach's role is when a player is struggling or the team is struggling. Here, the team is not struggling. A particular player is struggling. Um, my question is, are the coaches helping them or not? That is my simple question.
I think it will be answered soon. Based on, no one will ever say anything. We know that there will be not be much transparency when it comes to these things, or selection decisions or whatever. There's always been a problem with that. We've tried finding out, but we always hit a dead end. But let's see how this works out. The T20 World Cup will be an answer to that question, I believe. Thank you, Devashish. Shomik and Ashok will be closing the show now. To everyone who's watching, we'll be back tomorrow at 12. We'll be bringing the updates from Pakistan, what's going on with that situation regarding the T20 World Cup. And of course, we'll be debriefing on this entire series as well. So don't forget to join us then.